Wondering how you can set yourself apart in your business? Today I'm joined by Chris Kelly, the CEO, Ebby Halliday's companies. He's going to share with us exactly what you can do to notice certain things that'll help your business go to the next level. All right, Chris, this is something I've been looking forward to. Really just spend some time. Every single time I'm with you, I feel like I get smarter. Feel like I'm getting just really poured into. So I just really appreciate the wisdom. And one of the things you and I talked about was just some of the things y'all are doing right now to really kind of position your agents in a way in a shifting market. And this really works anytime, but to really give them the understanding of what it is that they can do to really change really the experience that clients have with them. Talk to me a little bit about kind of how you frame this when you're talking to agents.
Yeah, I think anytime you're in a shifting market, a normalizing market, the tendency is there's panic that sets in. And I start looking to my right, I start looking to my left and trying to see what are other agents doing? What is the industry doing? And I really think there's a lot more to be learned when you look outside of the industry. Certainly there are great things that agents all across this country are doing that you should emulate, that you should say that worked for them, it can work for me. But there's a lot of inspiration you're leaving outside of your scope of vision if you're only looking internally. And so what we talk about is carrying a journal, a notebook, your audio on your phone, whatever it might be. And when you get great customer service, the kind that you are gonna kind of maybe find yourself telling a friend or family member later that day, like, this was amazing, write that down and then think about how do I incorporate that into my own business.
Right.
It's that kind of principle.
So when you're doing that, as you're meeting with agents and you're asking that, you've shared this with me before that you're asking the question, where does that happen? What are some of the examples that you typically hear from some other companies?
Yeah, and I like to set it up to show that like even major corporations that everyone's heard of have done this before. So there's an older book called The Disney Way, and in it they walk in front of a group of Disney executives and they say, who are our competitors? And you get the traditional responses you might think about. Busch Gardens, Six Flags, and they go, no. It's the last best place that someone got great customer experience before they arrived here. And this kind of light bulb went off and I said, that is true for every industry. I thought of myself as a consumer and I don't put customer services in these neat little boxes, right? This is my fast food box and this is my real estate box and this is my entertainment box. They all get kind of lumped together and you compare everyone against everyone else. Those within a specific industry, we think of ourselves in this box and we really don't. Our consumers are not viewing us that way. So you really do sometimes, it's interesting, I've done this in front of hundreds of groups probably at this point, and you do get some consistent names. And I think one of my favorite to kind of show the contrasting of this is almost every time someone will say Chick-fil-A,
right,
and then someone might say Ritz-Carlton, and the reasons are the same, and it's the my pleasure. It's that attitude of my pleasure. I go to get a fast food chicken sandwich going through a line, and someone, they're efficient obviously, but then it's always ended with my pleasure.
Right.
You go to a Ritz-Carlton, high-end luxury resort, and it's the same thing, it's my pleasure. So it really wasn't about the hotel, and it really wasn't about the chicken sandwich, it was about the attitude of the person that was treating you, and it was that my pleasure. So it works in every scenario, from chicken sandwiches to a resort.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible when you think about that too. I love this just broadening our view of kind of what's possible in our industry too, because it is ultimately about that, I had such a great experience, I can't wait to tell someone else.
Yeah.
And interesting, when you're talking about something low end, high end, and then there's some of these differences we can find with the differences in customer service too. You've mentioned Amazon to me. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the Amazon's interesting. So any group of folks, right? If you just say, raise your hand if you're a Prime member, right? Almost everybody's a Prime member at this point, right? But then you say, keep your hands up if you've talked to a human at Amazon. I literally have talked to a human being at Amazon, and about 80% of those hands will go down. And I said, well, wait a minute, how can they have great customer service if you've never talked to them before? Well, it's the online experience. And so I think for us in the real estate industry, where the lesson is in that is how do I make sure my online presence is a reflection of who I am as a person? Most of our companies and our agents' websites will have some default language. Here's your photo. I enjoy selling real estate, period, the end, something kind of generic. What I like to tell our folks is please take the time to personalize that site. Make it feel like you, make it sound like you. You don't have to wordsmith it too much. In fact, you want it to really sound authentic, so that if someone goes to your website before they've reached out to you in person, they get a sense of who you are. And I hear it from folks. They'll say, I wrote my narrative on my website. I talked about the interest that I have, that potentially maybe I spend a lot of time giving back to homeless veterans, or I might be involved with homeless pets, whatever it might be. And someone will say, I saw that and that resonated with me, and so that's where the connection gets made. So spend spend the time online to make yourself feel like a real person. That was the lesson I've always got when someone says Amazon in those settings.
Yeah, this is one of those where we really try to frame up Google My Business for all of our agents from a standpoint, because they're going to Google. That's what they're going to do. They're going to go in there. Having that opportunity to really frame that up in a way that you can tell who you authentically are. And it acts as a filter both ways.
Right.
Some of the people that you may have struggled to work with and you just finally realize, well, this is not working out, it filters those folks out, brings you the exact person you're supposed to work with. It's a great way to do that. I love that principle. What are some other practical ways that some of the agents, after doing this, have taken some of these ideas and these concepts and applied them to their business?
Yeah, so one of the ones that comes up sometimes is Nordstrom's, and it's the myth that we've all heard for years, and I've never tried it, so maybe it's true, but the idea that you could take tires in the Nordstrom's and say, I need to return these, and that they would take anything back even if not purchased from the store. And I think the lesson there has always been, you can solve someone's problem even if you're not the person. Right? So whether if you have a client, you have a friend, you have a family member, someone who's having an issue, you can step in and still be a problem solver even if they're not your client yet. And people will remember that type of service. And so I've seen folks really adopt that mentality of that idea of like, I'm gonna be a problem solver for people, and then they might become a client for me. They don't have to be my client yet for me to become a problem solver. And then the other one that I think that really hits this point all home is a great story about Southwest Airlines. And when they were started by Herb Kebler, what he had talked about was we learned some stuff from the outside industry, but he realized if they were gonna be a profitable airline, they had to turn planes much faster than what other airlines did. What I mean by turn, I land, my people depart, we restock the plane, new people get on, we go somewhere else. We have to do that faster than what other airlines do that. There wasn't really anything to learn within the industry because other airlines were doing it in a traditional way. So what they did was they studied NASCAR and IndyCar crews, and they said, how do they turn cars so quickly? Well, you're at the ready. So if you're ever at an airport where Southwest flies in and out of, go to the window, and what you'll see is that plane's coming in, they're kind of already at the ready. And it shaves seconds, but it adds up over time. And I read an article just a couple weeks ago where it said United Airlines is doing the exact same thing now. So kind of trickling into that effect. And so the point being there was, really looking to the outside. There's inspiration that you can apply and make yourself better. And then your own industry starts emulating you as well too.
Yeah, this is, what's great about this is that I think sometimes we do, especially these times, you start looking at the agent here and trying to compare yourself to them, or you start trying to compare, well, they're doing these things, I guess I have to do this. But in reality, we always talk about that unique selling proposition. What is it that you're going to do differently? And when you start applying some of these things, this is where you find that rhythm that you're supposed to have in your business. And I love all of this from a standpoint of just really doing these things. I know that y'all are doing some of these things obviously in a unique way with the Ebby, Halliday companies in your area. What areas do y'all cover, just so that if somebody has a referral that they can send them your way?
Yeah, so we're all over North and East Texas and now into Oklahoma as well. And so that's a big swath of land.
It is.
It's a big state, but yeah, all across North Texas, which is the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but then all the way out west to Stephenville, and then to the east we go all the way into East Texas, right up almost to the Louisiana border. And then we're up into Oklahoma as well, just as people are, we've seen a lot of, and here in this market too, people migrating. I can work here, I can live here, and these different things, and so we just kind of continue to help try to make those puzzle pieces connect.
Yeah, so great. Listen, guys, don't limit yourself to the things that you see in our industry. This is a perfect point that Chris is making. Go out and find those great customer service opportunities. Apply them in your business, and I promise your business is going to grow. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.